Now at 9, we'll hear from an Operation Shoebox recipient on how this program has impacted her life. Plus, Pittsburg State University holds a cultural food fair along with music and dance. And the Joplin Interfaith Coalition held its annual bake sale to raise funds for a Driven to Drive program.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Cale Chapman. Operation Christmas Child Shoebox is a box that delivers joy to many kids around the world. The project began in 1993 and has since handed 200 million shoeboxes to different kids. These shoeboxes are filled with toys, school supplies, and hygiene items for children around the world. Evangeline Franzon is from the Philippines and received her first box at the age of 13 and now travels to speak about how impactful that gift was.
So when I received my shoebox, it just felt like I have a heavenly Father who would never leave me nor forsake me, just like my earthly father. And also that somebody cared for my family. You know, that shoebox that full of school supplies that I get to use the following year in school, it was very helpful for my mom to not worry about what to buy for me to use for the next school year. And so, yes, that box meant a lot to me.
Volunteers hope to collect more than 65,000 shoebox gifts to reach 11 million children around the world. Pittsburg State University hosted the State Future Business Leaders of America Leadership Competition for the first time today. Over 70 students from universities around the state gathered on Pitt State's campus to compete in a variety of events. Students involved with FBLA work to hone their business skills in different areas, including sports management, marketing, community service, and interviewing.
And so what it does is allow students to really kind of prepare for the real business world, and the competitions and events that they're competing in range from online computerized tests to one-on-one business presentations, to accounting exams, to finance tests, those kinds of things. So it really kind of helps take what's from the classroom and prepare them for the real business world.
Oh, 100%. It's a great resume builder. You do so many different things. You get to practice. Today I have job interviews, so I'll be able to practice what a job interview would look like. So you pick whatever you're going to apply for, and then you do a mock interview basically for it. So it's a great practice for a future job application.
Those that place today will be eligible for competition at Nationals in Atlanta later this year. The International Student Association at Pittsburg State University hosted the ever-popular International Food and Culture Fair today at the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts. The event featured international cuisine and cultural performances of music and dance. It's sponsored by the International Student Association and the Office of International Programs and Services.
If you guys are looking forward to potentially partnering with us to welcome a family or build a team, or what we would call a welcome team, around a family that's coming, please reach out to us at raisecommunity.org in our volunteer page.
The International Student Association hosts several events throughout the year for Pittsburg State students and the public. The Joplin Interfaith Coalition's annual bake sale was held today to raise funds for the Refugee and Immigrant Services and Education Driven to Drive program. The program works to empower refugees in the community to learn safe driving skills. The group is going to use the funds to buy a driving simulator to educate and help individuals they serve practice their driving skills.
It's good to come out here and see all these people from different religions and faiths and different walks of life coming together for a good cause at the end of the day.
I just want to help out people, honestly. It feels nice when you're helping someone. It's really fun too, seeing people smile.
Raised for their goal on social media and their website. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us now for a first look at the weather.
And it's been a beautiful day across the area with lots of sunshine, light winds, and warmer temperatures. Radar is clear right now, but that's going to be changing in our forecast. Over the last 36 hours, we barely topped 50 yesterday, but we got up into the 60s this afternoon after a cool start. And we're looking at temperatures falling through the 40s tonight, all the way down to 40 degrees with mostly fair skies, maybe a little bit of patchy fog here and there. Tomorrow's going to be windy and warm, and then a nice Monday. But take a look. We have some showers moving in on Tuesday and then a rainy week ahead. And I'll tell you all about the details on how much we expect to get with that in just a little bit.
Former President Donald Trump is proposing the construction of futuristic freedom cities, complete with flying cars. On Friday, the 2024 presidential contender said he would launch a contest to build up to 10 cities on federal land to create a new American future. He said the cities would reopen the frontier, reignite American imagination, and give hundreds of thousands of people a shot at home ownership. However, he did not explain how he would pay for the developments. New revelations about the Biden administration this weekend, including from an internal energy memo accidentally leaked that suggests the administration is putting climate change ahead of the country's energy security. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has the story.
Late this week, the Alaska delegation came here to the White House to try and convince President Biden to approve a massive oil and gas drilling project off the coast of Alaska 1 day before that leaked memo became public. Earlier, lawmakers reacted to it.
They have an agenda, and that agenda is the Green New Deal agenda. And if it doesn't involve oil, it doesn't involve gas, it involves batteries and the things that we depend on from China.
We need to make sure that we're moving as aggressively and rapidly as we can towards energy independence and energy and renewable energies all at the same time.
Officials say this internal memo was posted accidentally by the Interior Department, showing the Biden administration recommending higher royalty fees on oil and gas permits off the coast of Alaska, despite its own internal assessment saying that lower fees would help attract investment and work toward energy independence. The Biden administration favored the higher fees because, according to the memo, it, quote, constitutes the most reasonable balancing of environmental and economic factors for the American public. Senate Energy Committee Chairman Joe Manchin was fired up by the leaked memo and told our colleagues at Fox Digital, who first reported its existence, it makes, quote, crystal clear that this administration is literally putting their radical climate agenda ahead of the needs of the people of Alaska and the United States. Now some medical news. President Biden had a basal cell carcinoma removed from his chest last month, the White House announcing the biopsy results late yesterday. According to Fox News contributor Dr. Nicole Saphier, basal cell carcinoma is the most common form of skin cancer. It's rarely fatal, she says, but it can spread quickly, and said surgery is important. Which we're told is what happened when President Biden went to his physical last month at Walter Reed. At the White House, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Coming up, insulin prices are starting to fall, relieving some users. We'll hear from a pharmacist in Little Rock. Eli Lilly, one of the largest insulin manufacturers, has changed a long-standing trend of rising prices by capping costs, relieving millions of Americans. Reporter Ian Russell has a reaction from a pharmacist in Little Rock.
The medications we're talking about, patients have to have in order to maintain their life.
It's a common problem for Ann Pace at Kavanaugh Pharmacy,
where they're going to have to adjust how much they're using, maybe suboptimally, because they can't afford to get their insulins.
Life-saving medication, too expensive but desperately needed. Some of these vials are over $200, but that's going to change.
Insulin is a life-needed medication for patients that are diabetics. It shouldn't be cost prohibitive for patients to do that.
Eli Lilly, one of the largest manufacturers of insulin, has changed a long-standing trend of rising prices by capping the cost. Insulin manufactured by the company will have a maximum price of $35 a month. For the millions of Americans who have diabetes, that's huge. Just ask Dr. Joseph Henske.
I'm excited about it because I use insulin, and just like anyone else, it's expensive.
Besides his own personal experience, Dr. Henske is also the director of diabetes for UAMS, working daily with patients who also know how expensive insulin can be.
Yeah, it's long overdue. I think people have been pushing for this, and it was just a matter of time.
Dr. Henske says it's a relief for those struggling under rising costs, and it could also help encourage other companies to do the same.
This is going to definitely start a cascade of events where other companies are going to match this, if not try to beat it.
Back at Kavanaugh Pharmacy, Pace is ready for the change, but she warns they'll need a little bit of patience, especially for an impact as big as this.
My guess is that patients will have those lower copays. The insurance companies will then work with Eli Lilly on those drugs, and they'll figure out how the cost is going to be made up there.
Walgreens says it will not distribute abortion medication in 20 states, bowing to pressure from anti-abortion lawmakers and lawsuits targeting the legality of abortion pills. The company said it will not dispense mifepristone, the first of 2 drugs in the medication abortion process in 20 states, after a February 1st letter from Republican attorneys general in those states. Walgreens said it will distribute the drug only in jurisdictions where it is legal and feasible. Experts are recommending more women have their fallopian tubes removed in an effort to cut the risk of ovarian cancer. According to the National Cancer Institute, about 20,000 women in the U.S. were diagnosed with ovarian cancer just last year. The Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance says there isn't a reliable screening test to detect early stages of ovarian cancer, which means doctors must rely on symptom awareness to diagnose patients. Meteorologist Sam Lane is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, we'll hear about a group of police officers helping out a single mother during an ice storm.
Well, what a gorgeous Saturday we had across the 4 states. Lots of sunshine, light winds, and warmer temperatures. Just the kind of day that kind of gets you in the spring frame of mind. Right now in Indigo Sky Casino and Resort down in Seneca, Missouri. Pretty nice night shaping up for those folks down there. We made it up to 60 degrees today after starting out at 36, which was above the normals of 56 and 34. The record 77 and 0 back in 2002. And so far for the year, we're about 1.25 inches above normal. And as a result of the heavy rain that we had over the last few days, there's one river in our area with some minor flooding that's over near Jenkins in Berry County, but all the other rivers are doing okay right now. But that's going to be changing as we go through the rest of the week, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Radar is clear right now, no problems as far as that goes. Satellite shows some clouds spilling over from the Rocky Mountains into our area, just some high clouds. But take a look out to the west. Here's a big, powerful storm system that's slamming on shore now. That's going to make its way towards us as we head towards the rest of the work week. And that's when the rain chances are really going to start to increase. But let's enjoy the nice weather while we can. Temperatures this afternoon were in the 50s and 60s for highs. And then now we're looking at temperatures in the 40s and 50s. 42 right now in Stockton, one of the coolest readings. 46 in Yates Center, 50 down in Veneta. And we're generally around 5 to 10 degrees warmer tonight than we were last night at this time. So at least we're on the positive side as far as temperatures go. Right now in Joplin, it's 48 degrees. Feels like 48. Dew point's 37. East-northeast wind at 3 miles per hour. And if we take a look at Pittsburgh, pretty calm night right now. Well, the wind is calm. 43 degrees is what it feels like, and 40 degrees on the dew point. And tonight we're expecting temperatures to drop down into the 30s and 40s with light southeasterly winds, so a few clouds passing by. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny once again, but the winds are going to be coming around to the south, and they're going to be gusty as well, with temperatures in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. Then Sunday night into Monday morning, we'll start to see a front drop down from the north and west with lows in the 50s, and then that front will sail through, but it's not really going to change our temperatures that much on Monday afternoon with highs in the mid to upper 60s. And then as we go into Tuesday morning, we'll see lows in the 30s and 40s with northeasterly winds, and then the rain starts as we go into Tuesday night. In fact, here's a look at the rainfall forecast. Look at these rainfall totals. If this verifies, we're looking at 4 to 5 inches of rain in parts of our area and lesser amounts to the north and west, but still up in the northwestern sections, almost 1.5 inches to almost 2 inches. So it's going to be a wet one across the area. And not only that, but we're looking at a cold wave developing across most of the country as we go through the 8 to 14 day period. And then when you factor in the precipitation, it's going to be a cold rain at that. So let's take a look at the forecast over the next 7 days, and you can see what I'm talking about. Nice day tomorrow, 71, a little bit breezy, but then the rain moves in on Tuesday and continues through the rest of the week, heavy at times, maybe producing some flooding situation. And then Saturday it gets cold, and then it gets even colder after that. So winter is not totally gone away just yet, but we're going to have more spring-like weather as far as the rains go later this week.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a downhill slide there.
Yeah, we're kind of going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I'd like to climb back up the hill.
Yeah, we'll get there.
All righty, well, thank you, Sam. Coming up, mortgage rates continue to rise. We'll take a look at how that may affect you and your wallet. Mortgage rates are on the rise, cooling the housing market and forcing many buyers to the sidelines. Ivan Rodriguez explains why and what it means for your wallet.
This is very nice. House hunters are in a race against rising mortgage rates.
We've definitely been kind of accelerating that timeline.
This week, 30-year fixed-rate loans averaged 6.65%, up for the fourth week in a row and up from 3.76% last year, according to data from Freddie Mac.
Every half point the mortgage rates rise, I think that definitely has an impact on what buyers are willing to do, how far they're willing to stretch on home purchase.
Home buying activity is dropping in response. Mortgage applications fell for the third week in a row, sitting at a 28-year low for the second week. The rising rates connected to concerns with how the Federal Reserve is handling its ongoing fight against inflation.
Here's the master.
While the Fed does not set the interest rates borrowers pay on mortgages directly, its actions do influence them.
Housing is actually a big problem now.
Joanne Weiner, associate professor of economics at George Washington University, says a housing bust would mean trouble for the U.S. economy.
Because it's such a big part of the economy and means so much to so many people working in construction, and then all of the shops that go with building communities.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Americans are steering into more car payment debt as inflation and high car prices continue to squeeze wallets. Surging prices for both new and used vehicles combined with increasing interest rates putting financial strain on car owners. Between this past December and January, the percentage of borrowers who were at least 60 days late on their car payments increased 2%, according to Cox Automotive. And compared to January of last year, that's up by over 20%. ATMs are on the decline as the U.S. moves toward a cashless society. The Wall Street Journal reports they peaked in 2019 with 470,000 machines. Then the pandemic set off a surge of digital payments and the number began falling. The paper cities a Euromonitor projection that cash and check payments will fall to 14% soon. In 2010, they comprised 42% of transactions. Some Americans still rely on cash, and the trend could make it more and more challenging to get it. Up next, a Marine Corps vet receives a long-awaited Purple Heart ceremony 73 years after he was wounded. This 93-year-old Marine Corps veteran got a Purple Heart ceremony in Indiana Thursday, 73 years after he was wounded in Korea. Robert Smith's son worked for a congressman in the 90s who was able to get the veteran his medal. It arrived by mail in 1996, and Smith took an honor flight trip to Washington in 2019. But he never had a medal ceremony until the Michiana Marines detachment decided to organize one for him. Smith said it was great to get his Purple Heart ceremony after waiting so many years for it. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports are coming your way. Coming up, 2 Kansas men are being accused of sending technology to Russia. We'll have the details. 2 U.S. citizens stand accused of sending aviation technology to Russia. Prosecutors say the 2 Kansas residents sold and installed Western electronic equipment for airplanes. And they also allegedly sold technology to Russian companies and provided repair services for Russian aircraft. As Brian Johnson reports, the operation was run out of a small airport in Kansas.
These photos show police vehicles outside a hangar at the New Century Airport.
As the SWAT guys jumped out, they threw 2 to 3 flashbangs.
One witness who saw the raid asked that we not show his face. He says police got on a PA system asking everyone to exit the building. The agents were there most of the day.
It's crazy. It's a small airport, just a normal hangar, no markings.
The Justice Department says Cyril Boyanovsky of Lawrence and Douglas Robertson of Olathe owned the business. It's called Can Russ Trading Company. The 2 are charged with conspiracy, exporting controlled goods without a license, and other crimes. Court documents say they provided Western avionics equipment to Russian companies using fraudulent invoices and shipping the items through countries like Armenia and Cyprus.
What stands out is normally what's behind most criminal actions is greed. They wanted to make money, and they weren't going to let a little thing like federal law stand in their way.
Michael Tabman is retired FBI. The Justice Department says the shipments continued even after Russia invaded Ukraine last year.
You take an investigation step by step, and you have to always weigh when do we take it down to make the strongest case versus what are we risking by letting it continue.
The U.S. government detained some of the shipments.
Well done by the FBI. Good job.
Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us for a quick look at the forecast.
And we had a beautiful day across the 4 states, lots of sunshine, light winds, and warm temperatures. Radar is clear right now, but that's going to be changing in our forecast. Over the last 36 hours, we barely topped 50 yesterday, but we made it into the lower 60s this afternoon after a cool start in the 30s. And we're looking at temperatures falling through the 40s tonight, all the way down to 40 degrees with mostly fair skies and light winds. Then tomorrow, the winds are going to be picking up as well as the warm air for your Sunday. A nice Monday, but then the rain starts moving in on Tuesday with a rainy week ahead, and I'll tell you how much we expect with all that rain coming up in just a little while.
Former President Trump delivered the final major address at the Conservative Political Action Conference in Maryland this evening. Mr. Trump's speech came after he won the event's traditional straw poll. The former president had the support of 62% of the respondents. It was Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who's thought of as Mr. Trump's most popular rival, coming in second with 20% of the vote. The event traditionally attracts presidential hopefuls who are beginning to launch their campaigns.
If you look at Ukraine, and we all feel so badly about it, but why isn't NATO putting up dollar for dollar with us? We put up $140 billion, and they put up just a tiny fraction of that. And, you know, we all want to see success, but it's far more important to them than it is to us.
Some of the other Republicans who are considering running for president skipped the event and instead appeared at a donor retreat in Palm Beach, Florida that was hosted by the conservative group Club for Growth. Former President Trump is asking a federal court to block former Vice President Mike Pence from speaking to a grand jury examining efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. The former president wants to claim executive privilege over Pence's testimony. It's unclear how long the court will take to decide. Depending on what the court rules, it's possible the decision could go through the appeals process and eventually end up at the Supreme Court. President Joe Biden is surprising some of his fellow Democrats by refusing to veto a bill related to the District of Columbia. It would overturn the new D.C. criminal code. Critics say that's an attack on home rule, while others say Congress should have a say over the safety of the U.S. Capitol. Tom Rousey has the latest.
Vetoing the bill headed to his desk now won't make D.C. a state.
For the second straight day, the White House asked by reporters how the president can support D.C. statehood on one hand and then block something D.C. would have the right to do as a state on the other. Spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre was also asked how Biden can support criminal justice reform and allow the new D.C. criminal code to be repealed.
The way that we see this bill, it doesn't actually reform policing practices. That's not something that it does.
But before the president can sign the measure that would repeal D.C.'s criminal code that, among other things, lowers maximum penalties for carjacking, the Senate has to vote to repeal it first. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine says he's undecided, but thinks the fact D.C.'s mayor opposed the council's action is significant.
Again, normally I'm a pro-home rule person, but the fact that this seems to be kind of a little bit of an internal D.C. dispute between the city council elected by the citizens, between a mayor elected by the citizens, I need to dig into it more.
But Senator Ben Cardin of Maryland has decided, quote, no state has to navigate the unnecessary legislative hurdles that D.C. presently finds itself facing. I strongly support home rule for the district and will vote against the resolutions of disapproval.
The bill passed the Republican-controlled House with support from 31 Democrats. Still ahead, how VR is aiming to help with mental health and how it could impact you.
Well, we are starting off the weekend right with lots of sunshine and warm temperatures, and it looks like it's going to be another good day tomorrow. Let's take a look at the time lapse down in Seneca, Missouri at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. You can see mostly fair skies this morning, then some altocumulus clouds mid-morning, and then by afternoon, we just had a few thin cirrus clouds coming by and then a beautiful sunset across the entire area. Temperature this afternoon jumped up to 60 degrees in Joplin after starting out at 36, which was above the normals. Of course, not anywhere close to the 77 or 0 back in 2002. And we're ahead on the rainfall, and we're going to be really ahead on the rainfall by the end of the week. In fact, Some river flooding may be possible once again. Right now, the only place that we're concerned about is some minor flooding over near Jenkins in Berry County with a little bit of flooding there. But all in all, not too bad at this time being. But that's going to change as we go through the forecast. Radar is clear now, but like I said, there's a big storm system that's headed in our direction that's going to be changing that. Some cirrus clouds coming over us tonight, but we're watching this big storm system on the west coast. That's going to make its way towards us over the week, and it's going to be sticking around for a while, which means lots of rounds of rain coming in our forecast. But this afternoon we made it up into the upper 50s and 60 degrees, 61, a popular number across the area, 64 down in Afton for one of the warmest readings. And temperatures right now are dropping down into the 40s, and we're still seeing 50 degrees at Fort Scott, 41 in Pittsburgh, 50 down in Veneta. Let's take a look at the temperatures over the last 24 hours. They're definitely on the warmer side. Generally, everyone is warmer tonight than we were just 24 hours ago. Right now in Joplin, we're sitting at 45. It feels like 45, east-northwest wind at 3. Dew point is 37, and the visibility is 10 miles. Calm right now in Pittsburgh, so it feels like 42 degrees because that's the current temperature. 40 degrees on the dew point, and the pressure is 30.05. The forecast for tonight, we're going to see mostly fair skies with temperatures dropping down into the 30s up to the north, 40s elsewhere with southeasterly winds. Then tomorrow, those winds are really going to be cranking out of the south, but we should still make it into the upper 60s to around 70 degrees across the area, so a pretty nice day. Then as we go through Monday morning, mild in the morning with lows in the 50s, but notice a front up to the north and west. That's going to come through dry with temperatures still in the mid 60s for highs for your Monday. Then the winds turn around to the north and we drop down into the 30s and 40s on Tuesday. And speaking of rainfall, we're looking at quite a bit of heavy rain. If this model verifies, we are going to get at least around 3 inches of rain, higher amounts to the south and east, lesser amounts to the north and west, but a good soaking across the entire area. And then that's going to be followed by a cold wave, making it feel more like winter out there. So it looks like winter is going to try to make a comeback a little bit. Rainfall is going to be, of course, in the forecast as well. And so let's take a look at that 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, great. And then rain arrives on Tuesday, and then colder towards the end of the week, and even colder still next week. So up and down.
Yeah, up and down for sure. And springing forward and all kinds of stuff. It's a busy calendar.
Busy calendar, yes indeed.
All righty, well, thank you, Sam. Coming up in sports, Sports Director Jacob Leonard is in Kansas City as Missouri Southern takes on Nebraska Kearney. We'll have the highlights. The Missouri Southern women's basketball team is still alive in the MIAA tournament in Kansas City. The Lions play in the semifinals tonight, aiming to move on to the tournament championship. Sports Director Jacob Leonard is in Kansas City and has more on tonight's game.
The Missouri Southern women have a chance to move on to the MIAA Tournament Championship for the second straight season here in Kansas City. To do that, though, they got to go through the #1 seed in the bracket, facing the Nebraska Kearney Lopers tonight. Southern was 0-2 against the Lopers in the regular season. The Lions come out hot early. Lacey Stokes pull-up jumper. Southern opens with an 8-0 run. They're up 1 going to the second. Now in the second, Kearney briefly takes the lead. Alyssa Backus knocks down the 3. But Chrislyn Jones has the answer for Southern. Jones with a deep ball of her own. Lions hold a 29-23 lead at the break. Now third quarter, Lacey Stokes was unstoppable. Pulls up and buries the 3. Then Stokes gets to the lane, spins and scores. 14 in the third quarter alone for Stokes. She finishes with 28. The Lions punch their ticket to the tournament championship, knocking off Nebraska Kearney tonight 63-51.
Defensively, we did a great job of taking them out of what they wanted to do. We did a great job of rebounding the ball. Both games that we lost to them earlier in the year, they out-rebounded us pretty good on both games. It was nice for us to do a great job on the boards. Can't say enough about this group right now, how they're playing.
I think it's just us playing for each other and playing together the whole 40 minutes and, always being there to help. And just being there for each other. That's really the main thing, just playing together. We say that all the time, just play together.
Last year, I think we let one go, and so we're ready, to be back in it, and we're prepared this time. We have more experience than we did last time, and so to have that experience going into this game, I think is going to give our team a lot of confidence.
Missouri Southern now moves on to play for the MIAA Tournament Championship here in Kansas City, which is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Reporting in Kansas City, Jacob Leonard, KOAM Sports.
The D2 Women's Basketball National Tournament Selection Show will be tomorrow night at 9:30. Coming up, we'll take a look at how VR and AI are starting to help people with their mental health. Virtual reality has transformed video games, but researchers at Michigan State University believe it can also revolutionize healthcare. They're currently testing to see whether VR can help in-home caregivers better maintain their mental well-being through a momentary escape. Riley Connell reports on how it works.
If you've heard about virtual reality, it was probably video game related. But this changing piece of technology could be used to improve mental health. An ongoing study at the Michigan State University College of Nursing wants to find out if that's true, and it's turned its focus to in-home caregivers.
They're taking a vacation, a little mini short vacation in the home in a safe space, seated comfortably in their chair, and they're able to put on these goggles for 10 minutes or so and actually have a completely new experience.
Dr. Rebecca Lato says caregivers have a particularly stressful job. It can keep them from having a full and functional social life. In her study, she'll send a group of caregivers home with virtual reality headsets and run tests to see if the scenes it produces give them any relief. Participants will step into a virtual world. Once they slip on the headset, they will choose where they'd like to escape to.
And hopefully find a moment of peace away from a stressful reality.
As a person just starting their healthcare career, PhD candidate Mohammed Al-Anazi says the possibilities of virtual reality are exciting.
Working with this project and having the experience and having the contact with different people who are experts in the field really makes me feel that there are so many things that we can do to improve the care.
Researchers are still looking for more caregivers to take part in their study, as they hope the outcome leads to a new way for people to manage their pain.
Up next, how some police officers in Detroit took a break from fighting crime to help a woman with her deliveries. When a single mother got into an accident during an ice storm in suburban Ann Arbor, there was no way she could make her DoorDash delivery. That is, until police officers responded and take a break from crime to help out. Simon Sheikhi has the story.
I have DoorDash stuff in the car.
In what began as an everyday accident investigation along Metro Parkway near Dodge Park Road last Wednesday, officers quickly made sure all involved were treated for minor injuries. Soon after, driver Brianna Fantazzi asking officers for some unusual help since her Ford Fusion was no longer operable.
Is there any way that you guys can deliver that for me?
Yeah, sure, I'll take it for you.
Handing off a DoorDash delivery, Brianna later explaining she was 6 months pregnant, working to make extra money, and could not afford to lose this delivery.
How did you feel when you asked the officer and he responded with yes?
Relief.
An act of kindness going a long way while staying within city limits. Brianna expressing gratitude for officers helping her let go of more than just food.
So much stress and so much overwhelm, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
The lieutenant who agreed to help out Brianna with DoorDash when the two met out here said he was proud to go above and beyond during an already stressful situation.
My immediate response to her was, I hope you get a good review. I understand why she wanted to do that. She was concerned about making sure the delivery got made, and I mean, it's her job.
Lieutenant David Allen and his fellow officers, humble heroes with big hearts, lifting Brianna's spirits on an icy, stormy day.
Serving is what we are able to do. I enjoy doing that greatly.
I got your DoorDash.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Also excited to feed her own 4 children, parent Jenna Pizzo, surprised at first to see police outside her home before getting the quick backstory. And as for Brianna,
I hope they give you a good review.
an occasion to smile despite being in an accident in the middle of a delivery.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it. I mean, if you guys didn't come fast enough, I don't know.
With 20 years on the job, Lieutenant Allen says it's his first DoorDash delivery, but one he won't soon forget.
Yeah, that's some story
that
there.
Ice stuff. I do not drive on ice or freezing rain. That's just nasty stuff. All right, let's take a look at the no freezing rain in our forecast right now. Instead, we're going to have nice weather tomorrow, a little bit on the windy side. We do have some rain coming in, though, Tuesday night into the rest of the week. Some of that rain could be heavy. And then as we head towards next weekend, turning colder in the 30s for highs and 20s for lows, and even colder after that. So Winter is definitely trying to make a comeback. She's not going to go away quietly.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a pretty good run so far, but
yeah.
Unfortunately, I think it's
Well,
coming
of
to an
course,
end.
you know, that's March here in the 4 states. It could be 70 one day and then 30 the next.
Who knows? All righty. Well, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of 2 lion cubs at a Czech zoo. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us a part of your night.